The Last Byline, an original play in 4 courses. Written by Jeremy F. Carey, Ryan F. Love, and David A. Scott Jr. Story by Jeremy F. Carey, Sara Love, Ryan F. Love, Lisa McKnight, and David A. Scott Jr. Directed by Sara Love. Produced by the Keuka Lake Players. Act 1. Feral Cats. Lights up on Paige and Max, holding coffee mugs.
Schrader,
Watches.
you went for the Keurig earlier than usual today.
I didn't bring any from home.
No floozy to brew it in the morning for you this Max?
No lovely lady either. I keep hoping you'll drive past the 50-yard line and come into my red zone. Where were you, Paige?
Eating bacon at my table. I prefer frying pigs to sleeping with them.
Nice. You meet the new girl yet?
The new woman? No, not really.
She seems earnest. Fresh out of journalism school, but bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Don't even start.
It's just an expression page. I mean, she's got a lot of enthusiasm. That's what I meant.
Which is good. We both know the paper could use a little fresh thinking.
Well, she'll have plenty of new ideas, and I'm sure she'll eventually be able to match them with work at a real-life newspaper. Charlie's going to show her the ropes.
Charlie?
Yeah, why not? God knows he helped me. If anybody here can be a mentor, it's Charlie.
Sure.
Oh, time to break the huddle. I need to put the finishing touches on my preview of the varsity basketball season. Got a good interview with Coach Goodwin, too.
Oh, does he expect to have a good team this year? Lots of home runs and field goals?
I'll make a sports fan out of you yet, Watches. Don't you worry.
I'm definitely not worried. Don't be late to the staff meeting.
I'll have the copy to you in an hour for proofing.
Charlie and Lily enter from stage right.
Watches.
Schrader.
Max exits stage left.
Ah, there she is. Lily. This is Paige Watches, secretary and copy editor extraordinaire. Once you turn in a story, Paige here will spill gallons of red ink all over it.
Hi, Lily. Welcome to the Claymont Times. Do you like Lily, or would you prefer Ms. Karns?
Lily is fine, but thank you, Paige.
I've been here long enough to see 8 or 9 different copy editors, and Paige here, one of the best. Best of the bunch, in fact. She's skilled and appropriately irritating, which I've learned to appreciate after 34 years.
Thanks, Charlie. Lily, pleasure to meet you. See you both at the staff meeting?
Absolutely.
Paige exits stage right.
34 years, huh?
Yep, 34 years, almost all of them here.
You've seen a lot of changes.
I've seen a lot of fads and doodads. The business is the same. It's only the news that really changes.
Charlie hands Lily a mug of coffee.
You take it black?
I'll take a latte when I can get one, but yeah.
When I first started here, there was a boy who'd bring up coffee from a shop next door, but closed years ago. Billy, that was his name. Always brewed it extra strong for me.
What's the biggest story you've ever covered?
Let's see, the paper mill tax scandal. I'd been here 4 years when I found out that Tom Hinkelson, the mill's owner, kicked some of the property taxes directly into the hands of the county clerk, who just happened to be married to the township's road supervisor. Any roads the Medvin paper mill wanted to have improved got improved in a hurry. Takes a lot of logs to make paper, lots of land, lots of misdirected tax dollars.
The town must have been grateful.
Furious.
Really? Why?
Well, the Medvin paper mill is the largest employer in town. Story about something they'd done wrong wasn't popular. A lot of folks worried about what would happen to the company. But they're still here, and I'm still here.
For now. The paper mill, I mean. Is the business still solid?
Well, we hope so. God help this town if the paper mill ever folds. A little Claymont humor there. Hinkleson had to sell, of course, but the new ownership is done right by the town here, and all things considered. Anyways, that's the biggest story I ever broke. Got nominated for the Goldsmith Prize for investigative journalism for exposing examples of poor government. Didn't win, of course, but it was enough.
Caitlyn, Sheena, and Paige enter from stage right.
How'd you get the story? If everyone was against it, I mean.
Max enters from stage left.
I know the right kind of people.
Charlie looks at his wristwatch.
Yep, time for the staff meeting.
Caitlyn, speaking to Sheena.
Follow up with Stefan and see if he's willing to budge any.
I'll see what I can do, but he was fairly adamant he wasn't willing to negotiate any lower on the prices.
Just use your feminine wiles.
Trust me, speaking from experience, it's better if I don't.
Sheena, you saucy minx. Who knew?
All right. Good morning, everybody. Let's get down to business.
Paige takes out a pad of paper and keeps notes throughout.
First off, I'd like to officially welcome Lily Karns to Claymont Times.
Hear, hear.
Hi, everyone.
Lily is a recent graduate of Duquesne University. Her degree's in journalism, and she focused on multimedia, which means she's going to be able to do a lot for our digital presence.
News is news.
Lily, the floor is yours if there's anything you'd like to say to the staff.
Oh, thanks. Well, I'm very excited to be here. Growing up in Pittsburgh, I wanted to be a journalist for about as long as I remember. I know it's not an easy time getting onto a newspaper staff. A lot of my classmates are going to be freelancing it for a while. I can't tell you how proud I am to be a part of Claymont Times, and I can't wait to take in all the experience you have to share.
Welcome to the team.
Welcome.
And thank you, Lily. I think some of us have a lot to learn from what you bring to the table. Sheena, you're up. You just reviewed last month's financials. Can you please share with the staff how they look?
Well, the lights are still on.
Damn right they are.
It was slight, but circulation dropped. We're at 2,129, down 12 from the prior month, and down 231 year to date. Our subscriber base is slowly aging out.
They're croaking.
Yes. Our Saturday circulation remains at 8,000 households for the free weekend edition, which, as you know, drives most of our ad revenue. Ad revenue remains steady. Online ad revenue ticked up somewhat. The feral cat's got a lot of clicks.
Feral cats?
Feral
Cats.
They're coming up on the agenda, Lily.
As I was saying, we saw a significant uptick in online clicks as a result of the feral cat coverage. Online advertising remains a small source of the revenue pie. It simply doesn't pay much. I would again urge that the Claymont Times increase its online presence and consider pushing an online subscription option, perhaps reinforced with a paywall after 3 or 5 articles for a month.
Thank you, Sheena. So you all know I've been in contact with vendors who can help us with the shift to the web-based system that Sheena is describing.
Charlie makes a dismissive, waving gesture.
It's the direction we're going. If we don't, we risk losing the next generation of news readers. Look to hear more within a few weeks. Now, stories. Max, what are you working on?
Paige is going to get my interview with the basketball coach right after this meeting so she can proof it. Word on the Steelers is that Antonio Brown is primed for a breakout year. 6th round wide receiver who was rookie last year. That'll be tomorrow's opinion column. And there's a kid up at Pierce High School who looks like he might go somewhere wrestling at States this year. I've got an interview set up with him and his coach this afternoon.
Sounds good. We're also going to need you to take a few shots this morning.
Camera's locked and loaded.
Does Max take all of the paper's photographs? I usually take my own.
Which is standard practice these days, Lily. And I absolutely want you to do your own. Not everyone has made that particular shift.
That would be me.
Oh, I got you, buddy.
Big item for today, press conference at Medvid Paper Mill. The state finished the environmental review and they're announcing what contamination levels they've found in the creek and the river.
Yeah, I'm on it.
Lily, you're covering that story. We're going to want some video for the web, perhaps some visuals to offer context. Not all our readers get parts per million.
You got it, Chief.
Well, I'll be right there by you, kid. This is the first good scoop for you.
Actually, Charlie, you're needed at the SPCA at that time. We're running an update on the feral cats.
You have me on feral cats?
Feral cats.
Everybody loves feral cats.
I'm sick of feral cats.
You're sick of anything that doesn't contain a jock strap.
Feral cats pay the bills.
The SPCA is soliciting donations to help deal with Claymont's feral cats. I want a story on their spaying and neutering program. Max, you're going along for photos.
There's a paper mill story, and you want me writing about kittens?
Feral cats.
You know, Harrisburg's debating a bill on coal plant cleanup that would affect the whole southern end of the county. I could make a drive over there and cover the debate.
State House coverage isn't in the budget, Carly. You know that.
You and Caitlyn are always talking about the budget. The people need the news.
Yeah.
And if they can't read about it in our paper, they're just not going to get it. You've got a nose for news, Caitlyn, for all your talk about dollars and cents and websites. This is the Claymont Times. I could have been the editor 15 years ago if I hadn't wanted to keep my shoe leather on pavement. And if I had actually taken...
There it is, Paige. Where's that put us on the tally?
13 times since January, but the first one in over a month.
Charlie, has it really been over a month since you've said you could have been editor? Your pace is slipping. It's almost as though you're starting to think I'm competent or something.
Well, I know you are, and so do you.
Feel like you've proven your bona fides to the new hire yet?
I'll tell you, if one of those cats scratches me, I want hazard pay.
We'll pin a medal on you, Charlie, and put you on the front page. Hero reporter survives attack by ferocious beast.
Yeah, leave off the hero part, Kate. When you say reporter, it's implied.
No problem, Chuck. Everyone set? Good. I'd like you all back in the office by 3 this afternoon. See you then. Paige, hang around for a moment.
Charlie and Sheena exit stage left. Max and Lily exit stage right.
You ordered the cake?
Sure did. Picking it up over lunch.
Perfect. You're a lifesaver, Paige.
Lily enters from stage right.
I know.
Paige exits to stage left.
Miss Greene?
Oh, please call me Caitlyn.
Caitlyn, I appreciate the story a lot, but I'm a little worried I'm rocking the boat on my first day.
The boat needs rocking. Charlie won't hold it against you. He's not that sort of person. But as a matter of fact, Lily, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to...
Charlie enters from stage right.
There you are, kid.
We'll talk when you're back, Lily.
Caitlyn exits to stage left.
Charlie, I know we just met, but you've been really kind. I want you to know that I never...
Yeah, don't give it a second thought. Caitlyn's making the right call here. I might disagree with her 3/4 of the time, but she's a smart cookie.
I'm glad to hear you say that. It really sounded like you were getting into it back there.
Well, me and Caitlyn keep our claws sharp, so good luck out there.
Charlie exits to stage right.
Hey, you ready, Max?
Lily, alone now, takes in the newsroom. Blackout. There will be a 5-minute break. Act 2, Scene 1. Explosions. Lights up. Paige sits at her desk to stage left, while Caitlyn and Sheena sit at the conference table, center stage.
And then, as I drove, I crossed the state line while the snow continuously fall all furiously in front of me. The lines of the road indistinguishable from the rugged edge of the shoulder. I began to realize I was never going to be able to go back, never be able to go home again, and decided it no longer mattered. I didn't want to exist. Just poof. Gone.
Wow.
That was far darker than I expected.
I warned you.
I know. Even still, it's a very macabre turn.
But that's what I was going for.
I think it's too much.
She's not justified otherwise. There's no room for growth. You and your delicate sensibilities.
I just think it's too much.
As do I. And as much fun as listening to the latest chapters in Paige's new book to be are.
Caitlyn glances at her watch.
We really need to finish this meeting before the others come back.
You two take all the fun out of work.
Paige grabs her pad of paper and pen before joining Caitlyn and Sheena at the conference table.
Why, yes. How terrible it must be for you.
Anyway, before our brief detour into Paige's ever-increasingly twisted mind, we were talking about our September spotlight. How is our 10-year tribute coming along?
It's good. Max has been working on a write-up regarding how sports have been impacted, and it just reached out to 2 of Claymont's volunteer firefighters who were part of the Flight 93 responders.
McDonald and Zink?
McDonald and Evans.
Do you think that either of them would be willing to travel with you and Lily to Stoystown? We could do a full picture spread.
Dr. Evans is close to 75, so I don't know if he'll be as interested, but I can certainly ask. I was in the same class with Luann McDonald, and we ran track together. I'm sure I could pull some favors.
The benefits of a small town.
Indeed.
Did we clear the money in the budget for the trip?
Paige looks at Sheena.
Don't look at me.
Paige and Sheena look at Caitlyn.
I spoke with Mr. DeGraff again last night for 3 hours, but he finally agreed to my proposal.
It's the right decision, Kate.
I know.
Does that mean he greenlit the plan to expand our online presence?
He did. Paige is working on updating our Facebook profile, and I'm going to have Lily create our Twitter account after she returns. We'll slowly shift to the online division to Lily, but I want her to have her get her feet wet first.
I can use that with the advertisers.
Is Twitter really the way to go?
Lily and I discussed it a lot in her interview, and my research supports her theories.
Are you sure you want to bet our future on some fresh-faced J-School grad?
We have to evolve if we don't want to go extinct.
That or she's going to be the meteor that just wipes us all out instead.
Reel it in, Paige.
Sorry, it's all just... I don't like change.
Hey, show me someone who does.
What's our timeline for implementation?
The social media increase can begin immediately. With our upcoming cost-cutting measure, we've been given approval to dip into our reserves to begin adopting a paywall for the website. We'll start at 7 free articles a month.
That's too high, Kate. We talked about this. My projections shift not insignificantly if we go over 5.
Arthur originally wanted 15. He's concerned this will unfavorably impact our readership and is incredibly hesitant to make this move. Be grateful it isn't 10. Took almost 2 hours just to get him to 7.
I'm sorry. Of course, thank you. I'll work with 7. I am concerned about dipping into our reserves. We're only just getting back on our feet after the recession. How long until the cost-cutting measure goes into effect?
At my discretion, but I don't want it to come on the heels of Lily's hiring. My tentative plan is a month. It'll be before the third quarter of the fiscal year begins. That's the only way we can justify going into the reserves.
Agreed.
You know we're going to be the news after it happens, right?
I've already started writing the editorial. I am hopeful he will accept it in grace and we can give him a proper send-off.
Can I take a page in the weekend edition to tease our upcoming changes?
Charlie and Max enter.
Stop the presses! Caitlyn, I got a story I think is front page material.
What happened?
It's the Pirates! They're in first place!
Seriously?
Yeah.
Does that mean they're in the playoffs?
Well, not the playoffs. Yet. We're just a little over halfway through the season, but still, do you know how long it's been since they've been in first? Even for a day?
No, I don't, Max. How long has it been?
Since 1997. 14 years, Caitlyn. First whiff of first place in a decade and a half. 1997!
Well, I see. All right. It'll lead sports, but make it a column, not an opinion piece.
Come on, not even below the fold.
What do we have open for tomorrow?
A quarter above and an eighth below.
Okay? The whole story, an eighth below, or you can lead sports.
I always lead sports. I'll make the front page one day.
I know you will.
Max walks over to Charlie, who has witnessed the exchange from the side of the room. Max removes his wallet and silently hands Charlie a $20 bill. Max begins to exit.
I'll be in the back working on tomorrow's lead sports story, if anyone needs me.
Hey, Schrader.
Max pauses and turns around.
You know nothing actually happens when you say, "Stop the presses," right?
Can it watches?
Max exits stage right.
What's that, Charlie? 4 this year?
5 actually. Poor kid, he tries so hard. You know, I'm just gonna have to give it all back to him at Christmas too. Doesn't feel right. Like taking candy from a baby.
Lily enters from stage left.
I don't need to fill out any worker comp forms, do I, Charlie?
No, but could you spring for a lint roller? Or is that just not in the budget either?
Oh, I have one in my purse.
Lily acquires the lint roller and hands it to Charlie.
Thanks, kid. How'd it go?
Charlie uses the lint roller to clean the cat hair from his suit.
Did you get a big scoop?
Maybe. Some of Medbin's bleaching waste leaked into the river, and they're going to have to pay a $2 million fine over 5 years to the county and state, which will be used to assist in a countywide green initiative, as well as the cleanup, obviously.
Caitlyn looks to Sheena.
What will that do to their bottom line?
Charlie gives the lint roller back to Lily.
Average of $400,000 a year over 5 years? That's going to be a significant hit to their profit margin.
Yeah.
They'll either have to lay off some of their workforce or cancel their expansion project. If there's language in the agreement that a smaller lump sum payment would be considered to save the state money on the upfront costs, they might consider scaling back both regardless. If they do, we'll see a countywide financial impact.
Lily, what are the environmental repercussions?
The primary chemical leaked was chloroform. It'll seep into the groundwater under Sinclair Lake at the base of Quick Hill.
I have a contact at PCC that could put us in touch with the geology department. Might be able to get an interview with the chair.
Make that call this afternoon. Lily, would you feel comfortable conducting the interview? Sheena will sit in on it with you.
Absolutely.
Good. Start your prep. I want you to focus primarily on the environmental impact and what we can anticipate with an environmental initiative. You'll be tomorrow's lead.
Lead on her first day?
First, though, we spoke in your interview about you helping us expand our online presence. I'd like you to create a Claymont Times Twitter account. Sheena will help you with the needed registration information.
I can do it now if that works for you.
It does. Here, we'll use Charlie's computer.
Sheena motions to the computer at Charlie's desk. Lily sits. Charlie crosses to Caitlyn.
How did it go at the SPCA?
Well, I can't believe she's getting a lead in now Twitter. Gee, how's Twitter going to report the news, Kate?
I will be the first to admit it doesn't help us report the news.
Then why are we wasting valuable resources on it?
It helps us deliver the news. It helps us get more people to actually see what's going on.
And younger people.
Yes, and younger people. It's the new demographic.
Well, instead of having her write copy, you're wasting the talents of our new reporter on computer games. Did Artie okay this? You know, if I was the editor-in-chief, we certainly would have...
Charlie, before you get uncomfortably and awkwardly self-righteous in front of everyone, could we have a discussion about the story you're working on first?
Of course. Sorry, kid, nothing personal.
Don't give it a second thought. Caitlyn,
Yes?
the Claymont Times is ready to send its first tweet.
Just like that?
What do you want it to say?
Well, I guess
Lily types as Caitlyn speaks.
the Claymont Times is proud to announce the commencement of its online Twitter account. Claymont's only source for up-to-the-minute news that will get the public's attention.
That's 140 right there.
140 what?
Characters. They limit how much you can type in each message, so you have to be really concise.
Ooh.
The phone at Paige's desk rings. She stands and returns to answer it.
Come on, Kate. You've written a headline before, haven't you?
Claymont Times. Paige speaking. How may I help? Excuse me?
Thanks for the vote of confidence, Charlie. Can we cap it after up-to-the-minute news?
Done. Want me to hit send?
Sir, could you repeat that, please?
Quo vadimus.
Pardon?
Yes, you can hit send.
There it goes.
Claymont Times, 21st century Claymont Times. It's time you get acquainted.
Cute. All right, what's next?
I'm sorry, Kate. Sorry, Charlie? Batman is on the phone for you?
Seriously?
That's what they said, Alfred. Want me to transfer it to the bat phone?
Charlie crosses to his desk.
Yeah, just put it through.
The phone at Charlie's desk rings. Everyone pauses and listens.
Hey, Stanley, is that really you? Yeah, I heard you'd moved down. What? What's that?
Caitlyn looks up towards Charlie.
Stanley, buddy, breathe. Slow down and say that again. What do you mean the coal plant blew up?
Charlie grabs a pad off his desk, pulls a pen out from the inside pocket of his suit jacket, and begins to write furiously. Paige hangs up her phone and pulls out a binder from the filing cabinet behind her desk. She begins flipping through the pages. Charlie cups his hand over the receiver.
Big explosion at the A&E plant about 10 minutes ago. Massive fireball, then warning sirens. Doesn't sound like rescue's on the scene yet.
Charlie removes his hand from the receiver and speaks into the phone.
Yeah, buddy. I'm still here. Yeah,
Charlie, who's this Stanley?
Charlie continues talking into the phone.
Yeah, you're the first one we're hearing about it. I don't think they're aware yet.
Charlie.
Charlie looks at Caitlyn and holds up his index finger.
We're going to get right to work on it, okay? Yeah. How big was the fireball?
Charlie, who's Stanley?
Stanley, now stay on top of this for me, and I'll get back in touch soon, okay? I've got to start a... Yeah, exactly, just like old times.
Charlie hangs up the phone. Everyone looks at him expectantly.
What?
Who's Stanley?
He's a foot soldier, a man of the people, has his ear to the ground. He's an old contact. Michael liked us having real people out in the world we could rely on to be our eyes and ears. See what we couldn't see. I haven't heard from Stan in, it's got to be over 10 years.
Can we trust him?
I'd stake my reputation on it.
Okay. First, Lily, call 911. Tell them exactly what we've been told and who we've been told by. Use my office.
Lily nods and exits into Caitlyn's office.
Next, we need a second source.
Kate, this is legitimate.
I'm not breaking this story without a second source. Sheena, who do you think we could call at town hall?
I have a good rapport with Shannon Kelly.
Think she'll take your call?
Only one way to find out.
Sheena
Paige?
takes her cell phone out and dials.
Paige!
I'm pulling everything we have on the plant as we speak. I'll have the office number for you in a minute.
Good. Max!
After a moment, Max enters from stage right and is surprised by the commotion.
What the?
There's been an explosion at A&E. Get down there, but keep your distance. I want as many photographs as you can get, digital and print.
On it.
Max turns and begins to exit.
Max,
Yeah?
take Maine to Strawberry like you're going to go to St. Francis, but then cut across using Acorn. You'll save a few minutes by bypassing Chamber Hills.
Good thought. Thanks, Paige.
Be safe.
Max exits. Paige's phone rings. She answers.
Claymont Times, Paige speaking. How can I? Yes, this is. How may I? Pardon? Just a moment.
Hello? Yes, I'd like to speak with Mrs. Kelly, please.
Paige covers the receiver.
Charlie, there's a call for you. It's, and I wish I was joking, Wonder Woman.
Everyone looks at Charlie.
Put her through.
Paige transfers the call.
Dolores, what do you got for me?
Caitlyn turns and speaks to Sheena.
Anything yet?
I'm on hold.
Lily?
Still in your office.
Right. Do you have that number yet?
Extension 2731.
Caitlyn dials on her cell phone. Charlie holds his hand over the receiver.
We've got our second source.
No, we don't.
She's telling me exactly what Stanley did, and she lives on the other side of the lake from him.
Lily enters.
Yes, Mrs. Kelly?
I want a valid second.
This is a valid second. Now let me do my job and go report the damn news.
Keep taking her information. We have to when I say we have to.
Yes, it's Sheena Clark from the Claymont Times. Yes, of course.
Lily, start preparing our social media response. Max is on his way to the plant to take pictures. Coordinate with him to have them sent to us electronically. I want those pictures on the web as soon as possible.
Yeah, just a minute, Dolores, dear. Yeah,
Charlie covers the receiver.
we're not having a second source. You're sure treating it like the real thing here, Kate.
Read the room very carefully, Charlie.
Charlie goes back to his call. Caitlyn hangs up her cell phone.
They're not answering. Paige, keep trying to get their office on the line.
Paige picks up her phone and dials.
And I wanted to ask if you've heard of anything happening. Yes, exactly.
Sheena looks at Caitlyn and nods, then repeats what she's told. Paige puts down her phone.
At 2:47 p.m., an explosion of unknown origin erupted within one of the storage containers on the north side of the plant, igniting the other containers. It also pierced the hydrogen cooling plants, which is feeding the fire. The fire suppression systems appear to be offline. Claymont Fire and Police responding. I'm sorry, Shannon, could you... For how long?
Paige's phone rings.
I understand, but isn't there enough time before...
Paige answers.
Claymont Times, hold please.
Paige puts them on hold before they can respond.
Absolutely, I'll speak with you then.
Sheena hangs up her phone.
The town is under an immediate and mandatory shelter in place. There is a southwest wind blowing in at 20 to 25 miles an hour with gusts up to 40. It's blowing everything right over the town. The county is activating its state of emergency protocols and will be providing updates every hour.
Max.
Paige, can you get me the weather forecast for the next 48 hours, please?
On it.
How long is the shelter in place?
She wouldn't say.
Neither would I. Smart. Okay. We have breaking news.
Yeah, thanks, Dee. Yeah, I'll be in touch soon.
Charlie
Lily,
hangs up.
Lily, where are you on our social media response?
Ready for you in 5.
Make it 2. Paige, update the website and send an email alert to our subscribers. Start looking at what we can cut from tomorrow's paper and call Elaine Todd to find out the latest she'll accept our copy before it needs to get printed.
On it.
Sheena, prepare a command center and work out phone shifts. You can put me first. We're going to field a lot of calls early. Make sure there's enough people just
Paige's
ready.
phone rings, beeping, reminding her of the call on hold.
Damn it. Claymont Times, thank you for... Yes, one moment.
Resigned, Paige transfers the call to Charlie's phone.
It's Superman.
Charlie's phone rings. He answers.
Jerry, what's the news? Yeah, actually, we did hear that. Yeah, but thanks for checking in. Yeah, positively. But I'll have to run it by my boss. She's particular about bylines. Yeah, okay. Yeah, bye.
Charlie hangs up his phone.
Who was that, Charlie?
Oh, Jerry, he's just an old friend from Smallville.
How come you never told us you were friends with the Avengers, Chuck?
First off, it's the Justice League. Second of all,
Charlie.
don't mock the good men and women of this town.
Charlie,
Oh, yes, Kate.
get to work on writing a historical look at the coal plant. I want a complete retrospective and a first draft by 8 tonight. Lily, are you ready to post?
Yeah, this is the biggest story of the year, and you want me doing a retrospective? Feral cats and a retrospective, seriously, Kate.
New rule. When under breaking news banner, I'm to be referred to as Ms. Greene.
May I speak with you in your office, Ms. Greene?
No, not right now. I'm meeting with Lily, and then I'm covering the phones. You have a story to write and a deadline to meet. I suggest you get started. Paige, touch base with Max, make sure he's aware of what's going on, and have him get back to the office sooner rather than later. All right. You all know what you need to do. We'll meet again in an hour. Let's get to work. Lily?
Charlie watches as Lily crosses to Caitlyn's office. Caitlyn and Lily exit stage left. Blackout. There will be a 5-minute break. Act 2, Scene 2, Embers. Lights up. A darkened room. The power is out. 2 flashlights are pointed upwards on the center conference table. Charlie sits at his desk, feet up and eyes closed. His arms are folded across his chest. Sheena and Lily sit at the conference table. Sheena has an open laptop in front of her, and Lily is on her phone.
Where are you at?
13. You?
6.
Weren't you just at 18 10 minutes ago?
Had to unzip last year's purchasing order reports for August and September, drained what little I had left. I'm trying to get this updated with the new paywall projections before the battery dies.
Just gonna take it right down to the end and put it out of its misery, huh?
We're through the looking glass now.
I'll say.
Sheena continues to type on her laptop while Lily scrolls through her phone.
The co-op is reporting 6,238 without power as of 10 o'clock. No estimate of when it could be restored.
That's not surprising. If the fire takes out the right electrical pole, power could be out for a few days. Longer, maybe.
I hadn't thought of that. What's this gonna do to the paper?
Sheena pauses from typing.
We'll be able to keep updating the website through Caitlyn's laptop and my hotspot, so we'll keep enough eyes on us to keep the lights on. But I think that, in other words...
Wait a second. The lights aren't on right now, though, Sheena, are they?
You're not sleeping?
I'm writing.
Writing?
For far too long now, the citizens of quiet Claymont, nestled down within the deep rolling hills of Somerset County here in southwestern Pennsylvania, have had to contend with the cursed pestilence of the recalcitrant feral cats roaming our roads.
Thank you, Charlie. Impressive as always.
News keeps the lights on, Sheena.
Anyway, as I was saying before we were interrupted.
Sheena pauses to see if Charlie has further comment, but he remains quiet.
If the power stays out much longer, even though we have tomorrow's paper ready to go, we won't make print.
What's the hard stop on that?
Assuming the print shop gets back up and running without any issues, 3:30 is our deadline for the town, 4:15 for the village. But even that's pushing it.
Scars will let us go as late as 5. He owes me a favor.
Scars?
Charlie sits up at his desk.
Yeah, Gregory Scars, the owner of the print shop.
Retired owner.
The owner retired of the print shop. Greg and I go back. Grew up in the same town, same class in high school. I can get him to let us just have a little
Your
time.
poker games can't constitute business transactions for the paper, Charlie. I wish this was new information for you.
Sheena continues working on her laptop.
Point is, kid, it's about relationships. The news is the news, but you have to build relationships too.
Like your Justice League? Your sources?
Paige enters from stage left. She carries one working flashlight, which she uses to guide herself, and 2 non-working flashlights, as well as a small box of batteries.
Yeah, exactly. You can be all fancy with your Twitter, but real news is this right here.
Charlie motions at the space between them.
It's 2 people talking. Build your network with the right people and you'll always know what's going on.
Ah, I see we've reached the inspirational speeches portions of the evening.
Paige places the working flashlight face up on the conference room table.
And
Charlie puts his feet back up on his desk as he sits back in his chair, closing his eyes. He crosses his arms over his chest as he speaks.
definitely don't listen to the cynics.
Found the extra batteries down in the basement.
Paige sets the box on the table.
For these.
Paige sets one of the non-working flashlights down and unscrews the top from the other before putting batteries into it.
Any word from Max yet?
No. Still not getting him on his phone?
Right to voicemail. All right, here we go.
Paige turns on the flashlight. She just put batteries in.
Voila! 1 to down, 1 to go.
Paige places the flashlight face up on the table and starts putting batteries into the second one. Charlie's arms fall silently from his chest and dangle by his sides.
I'm sure he's fine.
We'll never hear the end of it if he is.
And that's it.
The wind comes out of Sheena's sails as she slowly shuts the laptop.
Lose the battery.
Yeah, I got the spreadsheet saved before it went down, but it wasn't finished. I really wanted to wrap that up before next week. Damn it!
Sheena stands and crosses downstage.
I can't tell you how many times I've begged Artie for a generator. We'll never need it. Not worth the expense. Fool's gold.
Sheena runs her hands through her hair as Lily and Paige look at each other before looking back at Sheena.
You okay, Sheena?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Just what I wouldn't give for a drink right now.
I could, break out my weed.
Paige, for the love of everything holy,
I'm not hearing a no.
do you really think that's appropriate right now?
Listen up, spinster. It was a joke.
Sometimes, Paige, I swear.
You love me.
I think we have different definitions of the word love.
Sheena returns and sits at the conference table.
Well, it's an open-ended offer.
How generous. I'll let you know if I change my mind. It's probably not how you thought your first day would go, is it?
One of the first things they teach you is to always be on the lookout. News will happen unexpectedly, can occur at any time, and usually when you're least prepared.
Paige tries to turn on the second flashlight, but it doesn't. She hits the top of the light against the base of her hand a couple of times before the light finally turns on. She collects all of the flashlights and spreads them out across the office. Concurrently, Caitlyn enters holding a cake.
It's a mindset I've tried to take with me through my young adult life.
And now?
This isn't how I thought my first day would go.
Well, speaking of first days,
Caitlyn sets the cake down on the table.
we had hoped to have had this under better circumstances, but
Caitlyn trails off after seeing Charlie.
Charlie, wake up.
No, it's okay. He's writing.
Paige and Caitlyn share a knowing look.
Charlie sleeps like a rock. It's uncanny. He can take a power nap and wake up just like he ran a marathon, then fall back asleep like nothing's happened. Chuck, cake! Was it the quiet Claymont speech or his man of the people rant?
Lily looks around the room at everyone staring at her. Charlie stretches and sits up.
What'd I miss?
But it was so topical.
What was?
It's always topical. He just changes the story. Don't feel bad. You're not the first one to fall for it. In fact, you might actually be the last.
Paige catches herself and stops before saying anything further.
Might actually be what?
The youngest.
How did you know he was actually...
His arms hang at his sides when he's asleep.
Sorry, kid. Just a little joke I like to play when there's a new guy. I even got Kate here back in the day. Not to steal her thunder, though.
Charlie motions towards the cake.
Welcome aboard.
Why, yes. Thank you, Charlie. As I was saying, we had hoped to give you this earlier today, but obviously, regardless, we're glad you're with us. We've got a few minutes before the 11 o'clock update. Everyone grab a slice. Oh, and Lily, as is Claymont Times tradition, newbie cuts the cake.
Thank you, everyone. This is so sweet. You've all been so welcoming.
It's our pleasure, Lily.
I agree entirely, Ms. Greene. Go on, kid. Cut the cake.
Lily cuts the cake and gives the first piece to Sheena.
Here you go, battery buddy. First piece goes to you.
Thanks, Lily.
Lily plates a second piece and prepares to hand it off.
It's too bad we didn't get any candles for the cake.
Yeah, candles would have come in really handy right about now.
Lights suddenly come on. Everyone stands surprised for a beat. Lily drops the plated cake and Sheena sets hers down as both rush to their electronic devices.
Woohoo!
We're back in business, everyone.
Charlie points to the cake slice Lily dropped.
News over cake. I like you more and more, kid.
Paige, get the power company on the phone. See if we're the area, if the whole area's back, or if we're just the lucky ones. Lily, hit the web and see if you can find
A loud explosion is heard. Lights flicker. Everyone looks around.
What was that?
I don't know, but I felt it. It was close.
Oh my god.
That wasn't good.
Okay, everyone, we can do this. We need an update from Town Hall. Paige, see if... Paige?
Paige stands frozen.
Sheena, see if you can get back in touch with Shannon Kelly again.
Sheena nods as she takes out her phone and dials.
Charlie, what about your contacts? Is there someone you can call?
If they know something, they'll call me.
Caitlyn.
Not now, Paige. I need you at your desk.
Caitlyn, I've got to.
Paige's phone rings.
Jesus.
She answers.
Claymont Times. Charlie, Wonder Woman.
Dolores. Yeah, talk to me. Are you okay?
Town hall's busy. Trying again.
Caitlyn, listen to me.
Lily, you're going to scrap the Medvin report. We'll have you write up a piece on it after we get past this. For now, I want you to start working on what the long-term impacts of this disaster could look like.
I'll get right on it.
It was the coal plant.
That's it. Caitlyn, I'm leaving.
You are not leaving this building.
Yes, I am. Max is out there, and I'm going to get him.
Paige, there's still that state of emergency.
I don't care anymore.
Paige starts to cross stage left.
Paige, stop.
Paige pauses and turns to face Caitlyn.
Sheena, block the door.
Oh, sure. That'll stop her.
Sheena slowly crosses between Paige and stage left.
The air's still toxic.
Exactly. And where is Max?
Max will be fine. And I need you here.
You sent him out to die, Kate. For what? A goddamn photograph?
You're out of line.
You're out of line. We're all expendable to you. You send Max running toward an explosion. You're going to fire Charlie and replace him with Twitter? What's next, Caitlyn? Who's next?
Everyone freezes. Charlie, still on the phone, drops his jaw open. Lily, Sheena, Caitlyn, and Paige turn to look at Charlie, who sets his jaw.
Yeah, Dolores, you're a queen. You take care of yourself now.
Charlie hangs up the phone and rips a page out of his notebook.
Go on, Kate. Let's hear it from the horse's mouth. Let's hear you say the word fired. Yeah, that's what I thought. You're going to want one of these notes, Ms. Greene.
Charlie.
Charlie hands Caitlyn the
Save
notebook
it.
page.
Her name's Dolores Reynolds, if you deign her worthy of quoting. Have someone write it up who works here. Or maybe you can find a tweet to quote instead, so you don't have to interact with a real live human. You know, Kate, someone with warm blood in their veins.
Charlie waits for a response. Caitlyn has nothing to say. Charlie walks towards his desk.
Charlie.
There's nothing to say, kid. I don't blame you for it. Writing's been on the wall, and that's just the way of it. Send the old dog all over the country, chasing leads. Put him down when you're done with him.
Charlie, that's not what we meant.
I said save it. Nothing to say.
Charlie walks to the door.
Well, goodbye, everyone. I'll see you, or I won't.
Charlie, you can't leave.
That's kind of you to say, Sheena. But I know when a story's run its course.
No, I mean, the state of emergency, you literally can't leave.
Sheena's right. It's not safe.
Well, Katie Pooh, I guess you can't get rid of me as easily as you thought. At least not quite yet.
It's not like that, Charlie.
Yeah, whatever you say, Kate.
Charlie returns to his desk.
I'll be over here for now, writing up the big scoop about feral cats.
Caitlyn, I'm not getting through to Shannon.
Thank you, Sheena. Paige, would you keep trying town hall, please?
Yes, ma'am.
Paige, if there was anything I could do, or if I could take it back and keep Max here.
I know, Caitlyn.
Paige goes to Charlie and sets her hand on his shoulder. They exchange a nod. Paige returns to her desk and begins dialing as Lily goes to Charlie.
Charlie, I didn't know.
I didn't figure you did, kid. Caitlyn plays her cards close to the vest. Though obviously Paige knew. I'm sure Sheena, the walking spreadsheet, did.
Charlie shakes his head.
Not your fault, Lily. You're gonna be a good one. After 34 years, I can tell.
I'm so sorry, Charlie.
34 years. Well, what are you gonna do? A reporter with no paper. I'm just a man howling in the wind.
What if you didn't need one?
Didn't need what?
A paper.
Go on, kid. If you don't get on this story, Caitlyn might get rid of you too.
Lily rushes to her desk and checks something on her phone.
Caitlyn, I'm still just getting a busy signal from town hall.
Too bad there's nobody here with a network of sources.
All right, Charlie. We need to talk in my office.
Don't you have something more important to do, Ms. Greene?
Come on, Chuck.
All right, Kate.
Charlie leaves the room.
Paige, let me know right away if you hear anything.
I'm dialing town hall again right now.
That's not who I meant.
Paige nods.
Sheena, where are you with the updated projections?
They'll be on your desk in an hour.
Caitlyn moves to leave the room.
I'd like to come to your meeting too, if I could.
This is between Charlie and me, Lily. Things have been heading this way for a long time.
Caitlyn, Ms. Greene, you need to bring me to your meeting with Charlie.
All right, come on.
Caitlyn exits and Lily follows. Paige hangs up her phone. She redials. A moment later and she hangs up again. As she dials yet again, Sheena crosses and sits at her laptop, opening it. After a moment, Max bursts into the room, his shirt pulled over his nose.
Stop the presses!
Max lets his shirt drop as he collapses heavily into a chair and coughs twice. Everyone freezes.
Watches? I think I finally made the front page.
Blackout. There will be a 5-minute break. Act 3, The Wind. The scene begins just as the last act finished. Everyone is still in the same position.
Max?
Paige runs to Max and holds him tightly.
Easy watches. Hold me much tighter and I might need a cigarette and breakfast in the morning.
Schrader,
Paige
you
lets go of
pig.
Max.
Oh.
Paige gives Max another quick hug.
Oh.
Good to see you're okay, Max.
Thanks. Hey, why is the newsroom so empty? Did I miss something? Hey, Charlie, I want my $20 back. That front page is mine for sure. Oh, cake.
Max goes to the table and begins cutting a piece.
Hey, what's the occasion?
Paige returns to her desk.
Oh, you know, out with the old and in with the new.
Oh, that's right. I assume Lily got the first slice.
Yeah, but she gave it to me.
Well, that was sweet of her. You know, she's a nice kid. I look forward to working. Paige,
Yeah.
what do you mean out with the old?
Oh boy, here we go.
Crap.
Did I miss something? Who's out, Sheena? Who's the old? Charlie!
Max, stop. They're busy.
Oh, they're busy. Oh, you mean Caitlyn's busy firing him? Charlie!
Charlie re-enters.
Max, why are you being so loud? You trying to compete with the explosion?
Yeah, I'm okay. Thanks for asking. Hey, what's all this I hear about you retiring?
Not retiring, Max. Being retired.
And you weren't going to tell me?
I was just finding out myself.
Caitlyn re-enters with Lily.
Welcome back, Max. Glad you're okay.
Well, what would you do if I wasn't? Fire me too?
Charlie, are you coming back to my office?
Kate, I already know what you're going to say. We worked out that part of my contract years ago. Severance pay, insurance package, references, blah, 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 blah.
It's procedure, Charlie.
And I assume there'll be some blurb in the life section telling everyone how long I've been here, how great I was. And there's no hard feeling for the old man, miss him, blah, blah.
Charlie,
blah.
stop.
Why don't you tell your Twitter friends how I busted my butt for 34 years, only for you to stab me in the back? Or does that take up too many characters? I like you, Kate. Still like you. If I'd become editor, I wouldn't have done this to you.
If you had been editor, Charlie, this place would have folded years ago.
The room goes silent. Everyone looks at each other awkwardly.
Oh, well, I'd better get working on this story. Paige, you want to help me go through these photos?
Sure, I'm all caught up at the moment.
You know, me too. I think I have a few calls. I need to make some. I need to just generally not be here.
Paige, Max, and Sheena exit stage left, leaving Lily with Caitlyn and Charlie.
Perhaps we should continue this back in the office.
Well, why should we go back there? There's firing back there. At least out here, there's firing and cake.
Charlie and Caitlyn sit while Lily stands against one of the desks.
Charlie, nobody appreciates the work you've done more than me.
Well, you're right, though.
About what?
About my being editor, how it would have gone. That job was meant for you. This paper needs someone who's always thinking about the future. That's not what I do best.
I know, Charlie.
Oh, I remember being excited about change, becoming an adult, getting a nice car, a better job, getting a decent place to live, writing that next big article. These last 10 years, it's just been different, you know. Nowadays, change is things like back pain and gray hair, taking your shoes off before you can get on an airplane. I miss how normal everything felt, how safe it felt. I miss my old neighborhood, my parents. I miss Billy delivering my coffee. Way too strong, kind of a burnt taste. Good kid, though. Never had the heart to tell him. Even that Keurig stuff is better, but it isn't the same. I do my job a certain way and it works. I could change it up, but I don't because everything else around me is changing so fast. I feel like if I just keep up with it all, I'll lose my damn mind. I knew it couldn't be like this forever, but I just thought I had more time.
Are you going to look for another job?
Maybe, maybe not. I've saved up, made some good decisions. Won't be buying the Steelers anytime soon, but I'll be fine.
You're still a good reporter, Charlie. In many ways. It was just a matter of budget.
Caitlyn stands.
If you still want to work in the news, I'm certain there's something out there for you. Maybe something better. But if you're not willing to change, at least try to adjust a little. I'm going to see if I can get hold of the fire chief. Why don't you take a few moments to collect your things?
Caitlyn exits. Charlie, a piece of cake in front of him, attempts to eat it, but at the last second decides not to, sighs, and slumps forward at the table.
So what now?
I have no idea, kid. Never pictured my life would be like this without reporting the news.
What if you still could?
What do you mean?
What if you could not only tell the news, but tell the kind that matters the most to you?
What, give up feral cats?
I'm serious. What if you could choose your own stories and put them online?
Do I look like someone who'd have a Twitter account?
Actually, you already do.
What?
It's not active yet, but
Lily
I had
grabs her
some
phone
time
to show Charlie.
and decided to set you up with a Twitter handle.
What am I going to do with that?
Whatever you like. Pay a little for a website each month, tell your stories, and use Twitter to post links to them.
So you want me to be an independent reporter?
More like a citizen journalist.
Sounds like the same thing.
In journalism school, they taught me that newspapers like this are laying off people all the time. And where does that leave the stories that only you would be offering to tell? This is your chance to fill the gap, and you've got a better head start on it than those of us who are just starting out. Social media is becoming a big thing, and eventually older, more experienced, and even retired journalists are going to not only start using these sites, but make them more legitimate as a result.
Next thing you'll be telling me Dan Rather has his own Twitter.
He has, for 2 years now.
Really? Well, how about that?
And if you'd like, I can help you set up a website too, in my off hours, of course.
You'd do that for me?
Only if you want me to. I won't force you to get with the times, but if you're willing, it might be easier than you think.
Why would you want to help an old news hound like me?
Because you're good. A little behind the times, of course, but reliable. And I'd be honored to add you to my list of connections. A highly valued contact. A source.
You have contacts already?
Lily shows him her phone.
Of course. I even have a special list for them.
Charlie looks at her phone.
Luke Skywalker? Princess Leia? Han Solo?
You have your heroes, I have mine.
Hang on, were you going to offer this whole Twitter thing to me right in front of Kate?
I figured it would make things easier. Do you think she's upset that I intruded on your meeting like that?
Oh, probably, but knowing her is something you'll get used to. The news isn't always pretty, and when you're a reporter, ticking people off is like a badge of honor.
Are they giving badges for that now?
Kid, if they did that, I'd be an Eagle Scout 20 times over.
Charlie and Lily laugh. Caitlyn enters with Max, Paige, and Sheena.
All right, everyone. I just got off the phone with Chief O'Connell. They've got the flames contained and should have them out very soon. With the way the winds are picking up, the fumes should be out of the air within the next several hours. That said, for the next week or so, they would not advise going outside for long periods of time, at least without a mask.
After what I went through, I think I'm just going to have one on me at all times.
Don't be silly, Schrader. No one's going to need to wear a mask that often.
Not unless they're walking by your place.
Sheena pretends to be inhaling a joint.
Sheena!
You love me.
And I spoke with Elaine Todd at the press. Even with the power outage, we're still on track to get the latest issue out on time. I know this was not a normal day, nor will it be all that normal for a while. So just thank you for hanging in there. All of you.
Charlie nods, smiles.
That said, it's probably as good a time as any to make a more formal announcement about our own Charlie Stewart. After 34 years with the Claymont Times, he will be leaving us. We will miss him and wish him well in his future endeavors.
To Charlie.
To Charlie.
Charlie.
To Charlie.
Speaking of future endeavors, what are you going to do after all this?
I was thinking of adopting a cat.
Charlie and Lily smile to each other. Blackout. End of play.